And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Welcome back to the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin. This week, we are going into one of the greatest matches of all time. That is the Bret Hart Steve Austin match from Wrestlemania 13, and that happens in March of 1997. We'll be talking about the build to that match and that match also. I'm Mike Prue, along with JV. JV, how you doing today?
Doing well. I know we always kind of start the shows off with a little Boston sports gloating, so I figured we'd continue the trend with Tom Brady. Dueling Aaron Rodgers last night.
Still got it. He still got it.
But no, doing well.
All right. Yeah, I'm excited for today's episode. We also have something coming up that we already recorded for this episode, or based off this episode, and that's the live commentary watch-along for this match, Austin versus Bret Hart. And we're going to have that coming to you Friday. So in a couple of days, you'll be able to watch along and hear what we have to say about this match. And today on this episode, we'll be building up to that match, and we'll talk briefly about the match, but we encourage you to listen to this little watch-along and watch along with us as we go into more detail in the match on that special edition episode, which was really fun to do again, just like it was with the Royal Rumble match that we did a couple weeks ago. And hopefully you guys also enjoyed our special edition episode on the top 5 moments of Austin's 1996 that was just released over the weekend. Yeah, so that was a little treat for you guys.
If you haven't listened to it yet, definitely check it out.
Yep, it just kind of breaks down what we thought was the best moment so far of what we've gone through. And we'll do it again for each year when we're done with 97. It's definitely going to be a lot harder for 1997 to narrow down the 5 moments.
Yep.
We'll get to that in time. All right, so today, like I said, we want to go through the build-up, so we'll get right started into it. And we're going to pick up the day after the Final Four, which we covered last week. And that brings us to February 17th, 1997, to Raw 197 coming from Nashville, Tennessee. And the big thing about this show is that there's going to be a title match. Sid is supposed to get his title match at this Raw. And Bret Hart had just won the championship at the Final Four, so now he has to defend the next night. So, this match is supposed to kick off the show, but it's not going to play out like that. Austin, who's bitter from his defeat last night at the Final Four, he attacks Bret prior to the match. And then Austin also attacks Sid. So then the match gets pushed back. It gets postponed until a later point in the show. JV, what did you think of this opening of Raw and this attack on Sid and attack on Hart?
Well, I thought it was. I didn't really know what to expect at that point, but it wasn't surprising that it was happening because we've kind of seen this build. We knew it was going to go this way, so I didn't really think too much of it. But it was kind of wise that they end up pushing it out for this particular match to actually close the show as a true quote-unquote main event.
Right. And I'm sure that's how they wanted it to be.
Yeah, it's like they were reselling the match to the
right.
viewer.
So throughout the night, they're hyping up this match.
Yeah.
So pretend that it's going to be the start of the show, go through with this injury stuff, and then just keep pushing the match later and later to keep the attention of the audience.
Agreed. Yep.
Keep them tuned in. All right, so that's probably what's going on there. And Austin is going to do a fly-in promo, one of those promos that just come on the screen during a match. And this is going to be happening during a Flash Funk versus Owen Hart match. And we're going to play that audio clip for you right now. Let's take a listen.
And right now, standing by, we understand Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Steve, have you lost it? What's going on?
What do you want, son? Are you going to ask me a question or what?
Well, I just wonder what's wrong with you? Have you
What's
lost
wrong with me? Gorilla Monsoon says I'm this far from going over the edge. I done went over the edge. I'm about this far from whipping his ass. He makes up the Final Four match, of which I'm a participant, and that was never supposed to happen. I won the Royal Rumble fair and square by throwing 29 pieces of trash over the top rope. There ain't no such thing as an instant replay rule in the WWF. Shawn Michaels got a little hurt knee, so he quits. By all rights, that should make me the WWF champion, and that's the bottom line. You hold me back, this whole organization holds me back because I ain't full of glitz and glamour and big smiles for all the publicity shots. The bottom line is, I'm opening up a whole keg of whoop ass, and I'm serving it to everybody in the WWF, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
All right, so there's Steve Austin. He's pretty pissed off, and he makes that comment where he threw out 29 pieces of trash in the Royal Rumble. No, he's pissed at Gorilla, and 29 pieces of trash, like he threw them all out, right?
Yeah, he's pissed though. That's the best way to kind of sum up this interview. He's pissed off. What's wrong with Steve? And he's just kind of going back to what Gorilla Monsoon is saying, and he kind of takes a shot at how the WWF doesn't have instant replay. So he's really just kind of up here, spitting facts. Thinks he should be the champ by default, and that he's being held back because he's not a smiling company guy.
That's right, yeah. Not doing the publicity shots.
Yeah, and he pretty much ends it, he has a can of whoop ass, and he's going to serve it to everybody. So,
yeah, typical Austin. It's always good stuff, though. So, the show goes on, and the match, like we were saying before that clip, that the match is getting pushed back. It gets pushed back a second time. Austin attacks Sid backstage, so they postpone the match a little while longer, and then the match finally happens. So you have Bret Hart versus Sid, and it's for the title, the WWF World Championship. So eventually, I'm just going to go right to the end here, not really talk too much about the match, but just tell you guys how it went down. And you had Bret Hart finally get a sharpshooter on Sid. Well, Hart is close to the ropes, and the ref has his back turned, so he can't see what's happening along the rope. So Austin comes, and he has a chair, and he gives a chair shot to Bret Hart. But it looked like shit. It looked like Austin barely even hit Bret Hart. It was just like a rinky-dink dink, and Bret Hart falls down. Sid gets up, gives him a powerbomb, and then it's 1, 2, 3. New World Heavyweight Championship champion is Psycho Sid. Psycho Sid with no P in Psycho. I always thought that was weird. It's just like with an S.
Well, I think they wanted to keep up the alliteration?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah,
the SS. So Sid is our new champion, and they announced that Sid will have the Undertaker at WrestleMania 13. Now, I may have missed something. I feel like I didn't, but how the hell is the Undertaker the number one contender? Why does he get a title shot?
I don't know. I don't know why he gets that by default, but I think that goes back to Steve earlier being kind of pissed off about how he's, basically like the key word in this fiasco that is the WWF title picture at this point is, everyone feels screwed. That's the word, screwed.
Right, everyone's screwed.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't recall how Undertaker is, the default number one contender.
There was no stipulation for it. He lost in the Final Four match the night before, so why is he all of a sudden jump to being the number one contender?
Yeah.
If anything, it should be Bret Hart gets another match again.
Yeah.
Against Sid.
Unless they're saying Taker because, if I already forget, but Taker was the second to last guy to get eliminated from that four-man, from the Final Four, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's why? I don't know.
Maybe that. Well, if any of you listeners out there know for sure, just feel free to tweet at us and call us idiots. And, hey, how'd you obviously miss this? This is what happened. But, yeah. So, the title picture is very confusing at this point, as we've talked about in the past weeks. And it just seems strange here again. You have Sid against The Undertaker at WrestleMania. And by default now, they're saying that there's an Austin versus Hart match. because Hart's no longer the champ. So if Bret Hart won, kept his title, was that going to be Austin versus Hart for the world title? I don't know. Or it would have been Hart versus Undertaker.
Yep.
Anyway. Oh well. Sid's the new champion, and WrestleMania 13 is coming along at this point. The following week of Raw, on Raw 198, is coming from the Manhattan Center, and there's not much about Austin here, other than that they announce the match. They announced that it's going to be Bret Hart versus Stone Cold, WrestleMania 13, and the stipulation is no holds barred. Okay, we know it becomes a submission match, but at this point, on February 24th, 1997, Raw 198, it's announced as a no holds barred match. And that's it. Okay, so nothing really notable about this episode other than this is the ECW Invasion episode. It's the first time ECW wrestlers are wrestling on WWF television. And it's just ECW matches. It's not ECW against WWF talent. It's ECW talent against each other. So, and they're kind of just showcasing ECW because they have this now working relationship. And ECW is just a couple of months away from doing their first pay-per-view. So I guess that was part of the deal with McMahon and Heyman, is that McMahon would showcase some of these ECW stars on his television to help promote the first pay-per-view. So that happens there. And the following week, Raw 199, we're now in Berlin. It's like another house show type atmosphere, like they just had a couple weeks ago with Skydo when they were in Toronto.
Yep.
So you have a Bret Hart match going on, and they changed the stipulation of Hart's Austin match at WrestleMania, and now it is a submission match. So along their way, they changed their mind. I have a theory about why they changed their mind.
What's that? Why? Do tell.
I think at this point, they now had the agreement with Shamrock. So then they probably changed the match to work him in as the referee, make it a submission match instead of a no holds barred match. I mean, when you watch it, it is no holds barred, but the only way to win is to submit. And we'll get into what happens there. All right, so Austin is live in studio. They're trying to get a hold of him, but they can't hear him, and all they hear is a toilet flush. You hear that?
No, I didn't catch that part. No.
Yeah, so before they actually start to talk to him, like before a commercial break, they're like, "Oh, and Austin's gonna be with us," and Austin is there, and there's just that toilet flushes.
He's taking out the trash.
Yeah. So then they flash back. They actually do a flashback to October when Austin went apeshit in the studio and tossed around some guys and had the police called on him, and he said that McMahon won't do shit to him because they need him. He needs him for that Bret Hart Survivor Series match. So they go back to that. So Austin's in the studio again, and it's broken into two different parts. So we're gonna play you the first part. So take a listen to this first part of Austin's interview.
In our studios, we have found Stone Cold Steve Austin. There he is. Mr. Austin, earlier on, we came to you. We missed you. We could hear something going on, but unfortunately, you were unavailable.
You could hear something going on for good reason. Do you know where the #1 talent in professional wrestling was sitting on his way to Stamford, Connecticut today? He was sitting in seat 38C. Do you know where seat 38C is? It's right next to the airplane outhouse. Do you know what the #1 piece of wrestling talent had for lunch today? It was a little stale sandwich stuffed in a brown paper bag. Now, I'd like to say that's what made me sick, but that's not the case. It's seeing Bret Hart whine and cry every time he gets on the WWF TV, and it makes me violently ill to my stomach. If he ain't whining, he's quitting. If he ain't quitting, he's doing something else. It ain't nothing good, and it just makes me sick.
Well, we will hear
No, shut up. I'd like to tell you that I was indeed throwing up everywhere, but it goes a little beyond that.
All right.
Way beyond.
In any event, we will come to you a little bit later on.
Yeah, you're going to come to me because you got no choice. Someone's going to get the lights knocked out tonight.
All right, thank you very much.
So just a couple things there with Austin's talking about the toilet. He said he was on an airplane and and he was sitting next to the toilet.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's suggesting that that's what the toilet flush sound came from, is that he was next to the toilet, or if that's just a totally different situation.
It was a nice way for him to play it up, because he's pissed because he has the worst seats. Because basically the whole promo is him whining about how he's kind of like working class. Like he's a superstar, but he still has like working and middle class type arrangements in his life. Like he has the worst seats in the airline. He had a crappy lunch in a paper, a crappy lunch. It was a sandwich in a brown paper bag. So I don't know. But because I didn't catch the toilet flush part at first. But now that you mentioned it and thinking about how he's pissed out he has the worst seats at the back near the bathroom, maybe that was just a clever, on-the-go way to kind of bring that in. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it kind of worked out.
Yeah. So they're going to go to a break, and then they'll get back to talking to him again. So here's the rest of that interview. There you go.
Back in the United States in our WWF studios, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Mr. Austin, of course, it was at the Final Four in which you attempted to prevent Bret Hart from becoming World Wrestling Federation champion. As we are looking at footage now, again, it seems as though you've been a thorn in Bret Hart's side ever since he returned to the World Wrestling Federation, and certainly this night was no exception. The Final Four in which you attempted to prevent him from becoming World Wrestling Federation champion. Nonetheless, the Hitman became the WWF title holder for the fourth occasion. However, the very next night, in a matchup with Psycho Sid. Again, we take you back to the footage. What is it with you? Here, submission hold apply. Yes, the Hitman Bret Hart with this patented maneuver. The sharpshooter, and look at this. The chair coming down right in the back of the head. Behind the official's back, behind Psycho Sid's back, and then, of course, the power bomb. One like we saw earlier on, the cover the count, and Sid became champion, partially due to you. Your response, do you show any remorse whatsoever for your actions?
The only remorse I got is that I didn't hit him harder with that steel chair. Bret Hart runs around talking about everybody screwing him. Hell, for the past 7 years I've been screwed, and it's the same old song. How come when Shawn Michaels hurts his knee, you make a video out of him? How come when Shawn Michaels gets sick, you tell the world that he's got the flu? Well, when I went to the Final Four, I was sick as a dog, and I had a blowed out knee. Let me ask you a question. How many one-legged people could go 25 minutes with three of the top wrestlers in the world? None. Stone Cold Steve Austin went out there and did just that. And I ain't making fun of no one-legged people. I'm sitting here just trying to make a point. As far as I'm concerned, I truly am the World Wrestling Federation champion, and can't nobody tell me different. Not you or anybody. As far as a submission match, it's a bunch of bull. Bret Hart, he's supposed to be the big technician, the sharpshooter. Big deal. I don't know a couple of submission moves, but it doesn't matter because I'll beat the hell out of Bret Hart. And as far as Ken Shamrock says on TV the other day, I don't know. Bret Hart's a better technician, but Stone Cold ain't got no quit in him. Well, you hit the nail right on the head, son, because I ain't got no quit in me at all. And you can bet your bottom dollar that Stone Cold ain't gonna look at the referee and say, I quit. I submit. I've had too much. There ain't nobody in wrestling who can make me quit. And that's the bottom line, cause Stone Cold said so.
Why are you so bitter? Why this bitterness?
You treat me like a dog and you expect me to smile? You remind me of a jackass.
Well,
I like that there with Austin. He's talking about the Final Four match, and then he really gets into the match that they have coming up that's been now announced to be a submission match. And he says he doesn't know many submission holds, which bullshit he does. He just says that. And he says, I'm going to beat Hart into submission. I thought that was perfect.
Yep.
And also it brings up that he will never quit. Okay, so we got the foreshadowing happening at this point in the build, and it's suggesting that he won't quit. Okay, and it's a historic match, so I'm sure you're aware he doesn't quit. And we'll talk about that in a little bit more. Okay, so he doesn't quit. Right, we know he doesn't. And babyface move is to not quit too. So he's this turn, and this double turn is happening gradually over these couple of weeks. It doesn't happen at WrestleMania. I mean, it's where they put the nail in the coffin there, for lack of a better term. But it's building up over this point. So he's becoming this babyface gradually, while Hart is gradually becoming a heel over these couple of weeks.
No, I liked
Yeah.
I liked both parts. The second part, obviously, that we just listened to, kind of picks up, even more. They basically asked him if he feels bad or remorse for hitting Bret Hart with the chair, and he's like, the only remorse he has is that he didn't hit Bret Hart harder.
Oh yeah.
So that was cool, and it's just Austin's kind of pulling his I got screwed or whiny routine, like look at me, give me some attention.
Yep.
He's playing how he was sick and he had the blown out knee at the Final Four, but Michaels comes out and everyone feels bad for him. So he's kind of like low key, also gloating that he was sick and had a blown out knee and was in a Final Four with like 3 other superstars that no one else. 3 top superstars in the world, and he doesn't think anyone else could have done it like he did. And my favorite part of that is he's like, and I'm not making fun of one-legged people. I'm just making a point. Like, he goes like, nice guy there. Like,
yeah, he's like trying to cover himself.
Yeah.
I wasn't making fun of one-legged people.
But then, it's just like, I will not quit. Nobody make me quit. And he's just very, very assertive in the whole promo. It's good. And you treat me like a dog and expect me to smile. You remind me of a jackass. It's just so good.
That's what he finishes with.
Yeah.
You remind me of a jackass. One thing that you did bring up that he said was about the chair shot.
Yeah.
I wish I would have hit him harder. So right there, he's acknowledging that it was a shitty chair shot.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
The rinky-dink chair shot. Is I should have hit him harder. No shit, you should have. It's supposed to be a big deal.
And then
he's losing the title.
Just one quick, factoid about this particular Raw in Germany. This was actually the culmination of the European Championship tournament.
Oh,
and
yeah.
This Raw, they crown their first ever WWE champion. Ends up being the British Bulldog, who defeats Owen Hart.
Owen Hart, right. So we've been talking about the Owen Hart and the British Bulldog tension over the past few weeks. And they are squaring off against each other for the European title. And Bulldog wins, and then they kind of embrace each other at the end. And they, I think they squashed the idea of Owen turning on Bulldog. Because I think they already see that they want to go with Bret joining them.
Yeah, bringing
and restarting
the foundation back together. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so now we move on to Raw 200. So in the past couple of weeks, you've had Raw in different locations than normal. You had it in Berlin, Germany, and you had it in the small Manhattan Center, and you had it in Toronto just a couple weeks before that. And it seemed like they were getting ready to start their new Monday night format. They were going to switch over to Raw as War. So on this episode 200, from March 10th, 1997, coming out from Worcester, Massachusetts.
Raw 200, a milestone episode in terms of numbering.
Oh, yep. And they debuted their new format, Raw as War, and they have a new set. They have the stage with the big Titantron, or what becomes known as the Titantron, and the classic ramp that leads down to the ring that they use to this very day. Okay, so this looks great compared to the way that it had looked, how Raw looked before. Raw looked kind of, I don't know, rinky-dink. I'm using that term a lot today.
Yeah, but in relating to where it is now, it was not even close to the production value it is now. And this particular Raw, Raw is War. They got the new music too. It's more hardcore rock, and they got the flaming wrestling ropes in the ring in one of the during the promo with it's like Vader, Taker, Bret Hart,
it's like
Stone Cold.
the final 4 people.
Yeah, and Ahmed Johnson is in there for some
reason.
That's right. He's like
Ahmed Johnson with his 2x4.
Yeah.
Hacksaw.
You're going down.
You're going down.
But one thing I did notice is, if you go back and watch this, around the 47-second mark, there's a picture of Austin bleeding, and it's actually a shot from the WrestleMania 13 match. So Prue and I kind of, I brought it up to Prue, and we kind of discussed it before the show, and we both kind of think that they probably changed that particular start of Raw, the recording of Raw on the WWE Network, because there's no way, just from a timeline standpoint, that picture could have been available yet.
Right, because this is March 10th, 1997, and WrestleMania is about 2 weeks away at this point, so that didn't happen yet. So they must have went back and changed the openings at some point.
Yep.
So I wonder what it was before. It's probably just a different image.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, but it's weird because everyone else there involved in that video package is relevant. So it's weird that they would just go back and change to add that. So I wonder what was there before they they kind of cut in Austin.
Original version of it.
You remember who the first guy out on the new Titantron set was to start the Raw?
Shamrock?
Nope. It was Psycho Sid.
Psycho Sid?
He's the champion.
Yes.
So
makes sense.
He came out first. The master and ruler of the world, Psycho Sid.
Yeah. Sid Beauty. Sid. Oh, God. All right. Yeah, that's the champ, but not for long. All right, so let's get into this special episode of Raw, number 200, debut format. You get a whole new type of feel in the audience, too. Get that music playing at the beginning.
Get you all amped up.
Right, gets you amped up, gets the crowd pumped. You got pyro, too, now, blowing up all over the place.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
So it's just a totally different feel. All right, so Ken Shamrock's going to be announced as a special ref for this submission match between Austin and Bret Hart. And like I had said moments ago, I think that's why they got that's why they made it a submission match, is because now they had Shamrock agreeing to be involved in Mania. So they probably decided, oh, let's make it a submission match, and since we have Shamrock, and utilize him that way. And so Austin's gonna come on the Titantron, okay, big screen, well, which adds a lot to the show, because now you can just have plenty of those different segments where people just come up on the Titantron and everybody throughout the place can see it. And they didn't have that prior. They had nothing like that before. So we're going to go to an Austin clip. It's about 2 minutes long. There you go.
Have you given more thought about the rules of this match? They seem to be very simple and straightforward.
Well, you know, it's
Shut your hole, Shamrock! Just shut your hole, son! Because you can sit there and say it's an honor for you to be a part of WrestleMania 13. You ought to consider it an honor that I don't come out there and stomp your little guts in right now. I don't know what the hell Bret Hart's doing to get all these title shots, but I think it's a complete bunch of BS that he gets a title shot before WrestleMania. Now, the last thing I am is a Bret Hart fan, but I hope the hell he wins against Psycho Sid, because that means the title will be on the line at WrestleMania. And you can sit out there with that stupid look on your face, and even you know that that title should be on the waist of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Bret Hart, you can come to the ring at 13 with your little sharpshooter, but I ain't never given up at nothing in my life. And you think that I'm going to start at WrestleMania 13, you got another thing coming. Stone Cold Steve Austin's time has come, and you don't know what I'm coming with, son. And Scott, the bottom line is, Shamrock, after I get through making Bret Hart say I quit, I might just as well knock your lights out and sweep the ring with you.
It's getting a little personal. I apologize for that.
Well, you know, fighting is my game. It is my life. I've been doing it all my life.
Right.
I didn't bring my tights here tonight to even to get it
Well,
on
I'll
here.
wrestle you in my
I
underwear,
came
son. You
here
ain't
to
got
do
to
one
have your
thing, and that's
tights.
to referee a match fairly. But if you think that you're man enough and you want to come on down here in the ring, I am not going anywhere.
All right, Chuck.
Okay, so one thing I take from that is that Austin is mentioning how he wants Hart to win next week. Okay, Hart's going to get a title shot next week. And he wants Hart to win so that he can get a title shot at WrestleMania. But I'm thinking, well, why the hell did you cost Bret Hart the title 2 weeks ago by hitting him with that chair shot? You know? So 2 weeks ago, he wants to cost him the title. Now he wants Bret Hart to win the title all of a sudden so he can get a title shot?
Yeah, that was I kind of caught that too. That was a little odd. I don't know what the purpose was behind that. Maybe it was a timing in, at the time they recorded maybe some of his stuff.
Maybe.
I mean, obviously this particular one promo was live. We know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Because he fucks up.
Right, yeah. I mean, the only thing I can think is that at the time when he hit Hart with the chair shot, they didn't have a match set for Mania.
Yep.
So he just wanted to cost him the title. But now that they have a match for WrestleMania, he wants him to get the title back.
Yep.
So
that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you just mentioned Austin fucks up his promo. Ken Shamrock's in the ring, and Austin trying to cut a promo on Shamrock, and Austin kind of stumbles over his words and visibly agitated by it, and then he just continues on. And you can get a little smirk from Shamrock, too, after he makes his mistake.
Like, hey, who's the rookie here?
Yeah.
But
so he also have,
he has a nice save from there, though. Just going right into just threatening Shamrock. Like, screw it, getting right straight to the point. Right from the jugular, he just threatens Ken Shamrock.
And then eventually Bret Hart comes down, and he starts to complain. And no one cares that he's getting screwed. And from what we just heard, you get a title shot next week, so what are you complaining about?
Yeah. In his grungy flannel.
Yeah. He's got his 90s flannel on.
In 97, though, I think flannel was already kind of out. So I think Bret Hart's just always kind of late to jump on like a new fashion trend. Like he had his 1980s getup from like 1984 to like 1996 up until today, where he shows up with the grungy flannel.
Yeah, I think he even has it open too.
Yeah, he does. It's either open or a half button.
Yeah, maybe a half button.
Yeah.
So you have Shamrock. He's playing both sides here. He's getting it from Austin. He's getting it from Hart, and I like it. That kind of just building up, Shamrock's involvement in the match. And I say it on the special episode that I wasn't too high on the idea of Ken Shamrock being the special referee here because I thought it would take away from the match, but as we'll see, it doesn't really take away from the match at all. It actually works out very well for the match to have Ken Shamrock involved.
Because, as we mentioned, he's actually a great referee in the match.
Yeah. All right, so Austin, he has enough of it. He comes out from wherever he was on the Titantron. He goes up to the main stage, and he just begs him off. In classic way. End the show there. Just gives the double birds, and that's it. See you next week. So, in Raw 201, the following week, Bret Hart gets his title shot. So, this is on March 17th, 1997. This is the go-home show for WrestleMania. And you're going to have Bret Hart getting his chance at Sid. And it's going to be in a steel cage. It's going to be in the big blue steel cage. All right, so Bret Hart's going to cut a little promo. And I think it's important to play because he's about to have a match with Austin the following week at Mania. So it's kind of a build to that. So let's hear the Hitman.
President Gorilla Monsoon, and in just a little while the eyes of the entire world will be focused right on you. It really is an unprecedented situation. Not only are you staring right down the barrel at a battle this Sunday at WrestleMania 13, a submission match against Stone Cold Steve Austin, but what about the opportunity you lobbied long and hard for? I wanted to get your thoughts. What's it going to feel like tonight if you could become 5 times World Wrestling Federation champion?
To change the face of WrestleMania 13. Well, I just want to say that I'm appreciative of Gorilla Monsoon for looking at the thing a little closer because, frankly, I don't really care what anybody thinks. I won the Royal Rumble. I won the Final Four. I'm a 4-time World Wrestling Federation champion. And I think that I deserve a little respect around here.
No question of that. Although there seems to be.
I know that The Undertaker's not too thrilled about it. But there's kind of a new motto in the World Wrestling Federation. You scratch my back and I'll stab yours. And The Undertaker might not be too thrilled about it. After I win, and I will win the World Wrestling Federation Championship belt for a 5th time, The Undertaker need not worry, because I'll give him his shot, and he can get in line with the rest of them. Now, after I change the face of WrestleMania 13, and I step in the ring with that lousy, stinking hyena, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Hey, watch your mouth. Stone Cold's here, you know.
Stone Cold Steve Austin is in for the worst thrashing of his entire life. I'm gonna take all those collected moments of Stone Cold Steve Austin, every time he's jumped me from behind, every time he's stabbed me in the back, every time he's cost me one match after another. He won't be able to scream loud enough the words, "I give," in a submission match. And I just want to say the fact that Ken Shamrock is going to be refereeing this thing, I respect that. I got to respect this guy's reputation. And I just hope that he calls it down the middle. And I just hope he gets nice and close so he can hear those magic words, "I quit."
From you. Think his arm ever gets tired patting himself on the back?
I will be the 5th-time World Wrestling Federation champion tonight. And we'll be looking at a nice, long, healthy run, and everybody can get in line because they all get a chance to prove themselves against the excellence of execution. The best there is, the best there was, and without a shadow of a doubt, the best there ever will be. Thank you very much.
All right, so what I like there is just a basic build to the match that's coming up. He's saying that Austin's gonna quit, and he just wants Ken Shamrock to play it down the middle, call it down the middle, be fair, and that's essentially what we got there. So nice little build to the match. Later on in the episode, you got Ken Shamrock. Now he's also going to be on commentary during a Billy Gunn match, Rockabilly. I think he's Rockabilly yet at this point. Anyway, or he's about to be.
No, he's definitely solo act though.
Yeah, he's by himself.
Yeah.
Eventually, have the Honky Tonk Man with him. So Billy Gunn is picking a fight with Shamrock. Shamrock gets in the ring and just tosses him around, gets some holds on him. And I think the point of that is just to show the audience, or people in the audience that aren't familiar with Shamrock, what he can do.
Yeah.
And how it could be a force in this match. So I think it's a good show.
And he can even fight.
Showing of Shamrock.
Yeah, he can wear separate pants and dress shoes and still beat up Billy Gunn. Twice, because it's actually like 2 parts. Billy Gunn's kind of like, "Let's go," and then he gets him the first time with like some weird like arm bar, and then the second time he gets him what ends up being his eventual finisher, as his, during his singles run, the ankle lock.
Yep. All right, so before the steel cage match, Sid versus Bret Hart, Austin's going to cut a little promo, so we'll take you to that now.
There, joining us right now live, ladies and gentlemen, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Mr. Austin, you must be very impressed with what you just saw.
I ain't impressed with a damn thing because Billy Gunn just got through with a brutal match and Ken Shamrock went out there and tried to take advantage of him.
Right.
I want to know what the hell is so impressive about that. What the thing is with Ken Shamrock is he doesn't even belong here because the WWF is Stone Cold's place. All he did was get in a couple of street fights and someone had a little video camera and filmed him, so all of a sudden he's a big star. He's overrated and he's a big piece of trash.
All right, come on now.
One of these days, shut up. One of these days, me and Ken Shamrock will square off and I'll beat the hell out of him.
Ooh.
As far as I'm concerned, all he's got to do is call the match like he sees it.
All right, okay.
If he sticks his nose in, I'll punch his lights out.
Why are you here? That's the question. Why are you here? And it seems to me that, well, you must be delighted with Mr. Monsoon's decision that we will have a title match in the cage tonight.
Question is why I'm here is a question a jackass would ask, son, because I am the king of the ring. No one can tell me that I can't be here. When you set up a ring, I am supposed to be here because it's my job. You damn right I'm happy Bret Hart's got the title shot. And by hook or by crook, going into WrestleMania, he will be the champion, and it's all going to be on the line. And when WrestleMania is over, you're looking at the new champion.
What do you mean by that?
Because Bret Hart never won the Royal Rumble. I won the Royal Rumble.
Right.
I was supposed to go into WrestleMania anyway.
Right.
The Final Four, the only reason he won, because I was crippled and I was sick.
Right.
And I'm a damn lot better now. Bret Hart on his best day can't lace my boots, and I'm gonna prove that to the world, and I will beat the hell out of Bret, and that's the bottom line, because you're looking at the new champ.
Testify. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
All right, so it's more basic build to the match coming up. Steve Austin obviously wants Hart to win the title now. So he's rooting for Bret Hart. You got any takeaways from that little clip, JV?
Yeah, Austin's playing the big tough guy, not impressed with Shamrock, just because of the two moves he pulled on Billy Gunn. He calls Shamrock a piece of trash and overrated, which of course, by nature it's what he's going to call him. He kind of beats up Billy Gunn after he just got in a match, so he kind of throws that dig out there. I thought it was good. If I think he's talking about Shamrock. If he sticks his nose in, he'll punch his lights out. In other words, like during the match, just do the job as referee, and don't try to be a tough guy and get involved in, show off or think you're a big tough guy. Because then he also, one of the best parts is he reminds everyone that he's still the king of the ring.
Yeah, it's good to bring that up again, though.
If he wants to go down there, he'll go down there and beat his ass. Just because he ain't there doesn't mean he won't just run down and pop Ken Shamrock. So.
All right, so that brings us to the main event of this episode of Raw. You got Sid versus Hart in the big blue steel cage. I love that cage.
Me too.
Yeah, just nostalgia, I guess.
No, just in one part of cage matches that kind of I think WWE's lost is the fact that people can climb out and how easy it is to climb out. It's like the blue cage had bigger rungs. It was easier to climb. You get these guys, they're over 6 feet tall trying to climb a chain link fence. Like, Hell in a Cell should be called Hell in a Chain Link Fence. I don't know. I've never liked the fence. I've always been a fan of the big blue steel cage. It's just, it looks stronger. It looks like it hurts more when you hit it.
Oh, definitely.
But
for sure.
It also kind of fits the idea of the match. Like, hey, one part you want to escape, so you can climb out. You had some of the most epic moments at the top of the cage. Now it's a little bit easier to climb. Sure, they can get their feet in those, big wide rungs rather than like little chain link shit. Half the time, the tall guy just grab the top and pull themselves up.
Right. Now, the one thing, though, with WWF steel cage matches that always seemed funny is that they're trying to escape.
Yeah.
Like, the winner is the person that runs away.
Yeah. You got to get out.
So that's the one thing is like, so they should just be in there to battle to the death, basically.
Yeah, so you can't get out.
Right, you shouldn't be able to get out because you're supposed to be contained. That's what, you're built up to that match, to having a cage, because maybe there's outside interference a bunch of times. You want to keep people out of it, and you don't want to be able to run away and get count out. So you...
Is that the deal with Hell in a Cell? Because it covers the whole ring.
Yeah, so...
Can you escape? I forget. I don't know why I'm drawing a brain fart.
Well, you definitely get out somehow.
But does that win the match? Yeah. No, it doesn't win the match because we saw Taker throw Mankind through the top of the freaking thing.
Yeah. It's a submission or pinfall.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
They should do a Hell in a Cell with the big blue cage, and it's got a big blue cage top. That's what we need. Hell in a big blue steel cage.
The blue... Yeah, the big blue cage Hell in a Cell.
Oh man, people would... That would sell.
Well, the recent Hell in a Cell, they had it painted red, right? The cell.
Yeah.
They should have painted it blue. They should have used that same blue for the...
That's a good point.
For the chain link. But anyway, back to the match. So Austin's going to come out like he basically said he was going to, and Sid is about to come out of the gate, and Austin just runs by and slams the door on him.
Yep.
To prevent him from getting out of the match and retaining the title. Because he wants Hart to win. Austin wants Hart to win, so he gets the title shot. And I'm sure this would piss off The Undertaker. So The Undertaker's not going to let this go down easy either. Because he has a title shot at WrestleMania, and he doesn't want Austin to screw it up for him. So eventually The Undertaker's going to come down too. So you have Austin attacking Sid. And Sid's about to get out of the cage, so Austin climbs up the cage, and then Hart joins him, climbs up the cage, and they're both beating up Sid. And like I was just mentioning, Undertaker's not going to want this to happen, so here comes The Undertaker. The Undertaker comes up, and you have all four guys battling on top of the cage. I thought that made for a great visual.
I agree.
Looked awesome. And just it's a blow-off. That's how a go-home match should be.
Mm-hmm.
Towards WrestleMania, just get them all involved. And the stakes are high because it's for the World Championship still. And just days before, the title match could change. So, pretty exciting. But ultimately, nothing really happens. So you get Austin falling to the floor. Hart's going to give a nice superplex to Sid. And Austin's going to attack the Undertaker. Going to stomp him a few times, hit him with the chair shot. So Hart's trying to get out of the ring. And he's waiting awkwardly. If you noticed, when he gets to the gate, he's just standing there. He's just waiting because he knows the Undertaker's supposed to come and hit him with the door. And so it doesn't come off well. I think he's waiting.
It looks like Bret Hart got up too quick.
Yeah, that too.
Like he saw Sid going to climb the cage. So Sid's like barely over the cage. I think he's got like one leg at the top of the cage. Because I went back and like watched it. Like I watched the match, but I went back to like watch that particular section of the match, the end of the match again, and it seemed like Bret Hart should have stayed on the mat like maybe a second or two longer, and it would have timed up better with Taker. But no, he gets in, his arms are spread out at the door, and he's just kind of looking down. It's like, dude, you could pass out and just fall forward, guy. You know?
Yeah.
Like, why are you trying? It's like he's preventing himself from leaving.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it kind of put him in a tough spot, but it does hurt that, it's a sloppy ending. It's like, it's like a gymnast. Right. You didn't hit the landing.
Yeah, you worked it out. You had it planned out, and then the execution sucked.
Yeah, because it was an awesome match. I mean, I thought it was a really good match even before Stone Cold interfered. Like, Sid and Bret Hart, I don't know, Sid doesn't get credit for having a lot of good matches, but this type of match kind of fit who he was, and he had a great guy in the ring with, dance partner and Bret Hart with him, so.
Yeah, anything with Bret Hart is going to come out pretty good.
Yeah.
So, that happens there. Hart gets hit. Sid's on his way out. He eventually gets down, lands on the ground, retains the title. Mm-hmm. So, nothing changes there. It's Sid versus Undertaker at WrestleMania for the championship, and the Austin Hart match just goes on as a submission match with no title involved. So, excellent go-home show prior to WrestleMania. At the end, though, the drama's not over. After the match, Vince McMahon comes into the ring to interview Hart, and Hart's not that happy with Vince McMahon. So let's go to a couple-minute clip there. Also, Austin's going to talk for a couple minutes in there, too. So go to that last clip before WrestleMania 13.
And we're back here, ladies and gentlemen. A few more moments here with you. Vince McMahon is going to try to talk to a very, obviously, disconsolate Bret Hart.
You've got to be terribly frustrated. Extremely frustrated over what has just happened.
Whoa! Frustrated isn't a goddamn word for it. This is bullshit.
Oh, we apologize, ladies and gentlemen.
Me, everybody screws me, and nobody does a goddamn thing about it. Nobody in the building cares. Nobody in the dressing room cares. So much goddamn injustice around here. I've had it up to here.
We apologize, ladies and gentlemen.
Everybody knows it. I know it. Everybody knows it. I should be the World Wrestling Federation champion.
Get him out of the ring.
Everybody just keeps turning a blind eye. You keep turning a blind eye to it. I got that Gorilla Monsoon. He turns a blind eye to it. Everybody in that goddamn dressing room knows that I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
Cut him off.
If you don't like it, tough shit.
Well, obviously, we
my ass, Bret. All you want to do anytime you go in the ring is cry like a baby. I tried to go out there and help you, and you threw it all away because you're a loser. It could have been you and me for the championship at WrestleMania, but you blew the whole damn thing because you're a loser. At WrestleMania,
you know why they call you Stone Cold? Because your stones are so cold. Your stones, you won't come out here and step in the ring with me yourself. You always got to jump me from behind. You got the guts to come out here. Come on. Everybody knows whether it's Psycho Sid.
Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the actions of Bret Hart, who has snapped. He has lost it.
You are wrong.
Uh-oh,
that
look
is
out.
my belt. You know
We're going to try and stay with this as long as we can. Bret Hart, ladies and gentlemen. This is completely out of control, McMahon.
Yeah, I know that.
Oh, this is not going to be a fight here.
Bret Hart.
Bret snapped. He's lost it. Wait a minute. Wait just a minute.
Oh, wait a minute.
Business just picked up.
Bret Hart, ladies and gentlemen, has gone berserk. And oh, no!
What? Bret Hart for the Undertaker. Bret Hart knows the Undertaker. There's Austin.
Austin! Bring in Bret Hart!
All right, so one thing I like about this here is that you have Hart so fed up that he says this is bullshit, and he's being screwed, and he tosses McMahon on his back, like pretty hard. And all this happening here just brings me back to what I've said numerous times before, is that this whole being screwed, I've been screwed, that's been part of Bret's storyline the past couple of months, and throughout 1997 it's going to be that. So it ultimately ends up in November with this screw job. So when you start to picture it and you see it play out this way, I mean, you start, at least I do, you start to think that Montreal screw job was planned all along. So it's more my conspiracy, Mike, again, but we're seeing it here.
No, I see it too. You definitely see it. Rewatching all this stuff, recapping it again, going back, with a little bit more knowledge and everything that's happened since, taking that information, and it feels like it could have definitely, it's not a clear cut to me that this wasn't a work, like that screw job wasn't a work.
Right. It just seems like because of how big that story was, people forget the build to it.
Yep.
And just want to, just take it for granted. Well, actually take it at face value that, oh yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen. How come it wasn't supposed to happen? Because they said so?
Yeah, exactly. And they did a whole reunion when Bret Hart finally came back and played that up. Like, they're in the business of making money. If they can all agree to kind of keep this hush or just spin it any way they, it's, I don't know. I still find that hard to believe.
It worked out for everybody.
Yeah.
The business got more controversial at the time, so the Attitude Era kind of kicked off even more at that point. Bret Hart was on his way to WCW anyway.
Yeah, the last great work, I think is what you acknowledged it as.
Yeah, I believe it is. So I'm sticking with that. This is all work. It's wrestling, for Christ's sake.
I'm on your side, man. I'm on your side.
All right, so this, like I was saying before with Austin, how he's gradually becoming babyface over these weeks. Hart is becoming a heel at this point, and this is like the major turning point for Hart when we see him toss down Vince McMahon and just continue to complain. Is that this is really the heel turn Bret Hart?
Unhinged.
Yeah. So we like to look at the WrestleMania 13 match as being that double turn, and it happened that night. It's been building up. It's happening gradually, and then that's the icing on the cake is WrestleMania 13 with the ending there, which we'll get to in a few moments.
Bret Hart is super, super pissed. Like, he's calling on everybody, saying, I'm champion. I should be champion. And he's calling out Sid. He said, Sid knows I'm champion. And so Sid comes out the back with the title, pointing at the title. And he legit says, and it's funny because it's coming from Sid and just knowing, like, I guess his character. He's like, I don't know shit. Yeah, I don't know shit. And I'm just seeing that. It's just funny.
So, you don't know shit.
But no, the other, and just, so Bret Hart and Stone Cold are kind of selling WrestleMania 13. Like, you were buying pay-per-views then. You didn't have the network. You were dropping a good $50-$60 back then if you weren't lucky enough to have a black box to pay for this thing. And Bret Hart and Stone Cold, even though they weren't the last match, they sold that card. Because the main event, Sid and Taker, they're almost kind of like second rate in the match at the end of Raw. Like, their whole highlight is Sid and Taker holding each other by the throats, teasing like a choke slam. Like, I think Sid goes to choke slam Taker. Taker goes and blocks it by grabbing Sid's throat, and they're just both holding each other by the throat as the show closes. So
yeah, they're trying to just build up that match a little bit because the previous weeks are only surrounding this Austin Hart story, really.
Yeah. Yep.
So it really is the main event. It's not the last match, but it is the main event.
Yeah, that sold the show. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember that. As a kid.
The title picture wasn't even really fully determined at that point, so it was even up to this night of Raw where they knew that, okay, the main event really is going to be Sid versus Undertaker. So they didn't have much time to build up that match at all. So they put all their effort into Austin and Hart, because that's what would sell.
Yeah, and they didn't have the two best performers to kind of talk on the mic and build interest, being Sid and Taker. So great athletes, great superstars and all that, but just to hold a feud.
Yeah, for over a month.
No.
Like, I don't know about you, but when I start to hear an Undertaker promo, it's like, is it over?
I love the Undertaker. He's one of the greatest of all time. Love his ring. Love his whole, everything. His costumes, all that stuff. His ring attire. I don't call them costumes. His might offend somebody. His ring attire and stuff. But whenever he spoke on the mic, even when he first debuted to now, the guy doesn't cut a good promo. He just doesn't. To me, they're silly because, I like the idea of the Undertaker. I see the fiction in it. He's playing like a dead guy, but he also kind of talks like a dead guy in like an old Shakespeare play. It's just I've never liked his promos. They're painful. It's like they're cringe. He just talks
drag on. Yeah, he talks so deliberately and slow.
Yeah, you done yet? He's not. He's not done. He's not done. That's basically the whole time you watch. It's like maybe I'll get a drink. But he does get all the cool theatrics. The best part of the Taker promo is his entrance, because he gets a bunch of cool.
Too, though.
Yeah, but you get a bunch of cool shit out of it. You get the cool smoke, and it is cool hearing the song and shit. And he comes down all slow, but then once he starts talking, it's like, oof, when's his exit? When's he leaving? Let's hear the music again. Let's get some more smoke in here.
I think he does get a little better with promos when he's the biker Undertaker.
Oh, I did not like that. I felt so
ripped off that it's not the Undertaker.
Yeah, they talk like I was an idiot. No, he's not a biker guy.
He's supposed to be the dead man.
What are you doing? It's the Kid Rock became a wrestler. Come on. But some people love it, but I didn't really like Biker Taker. Babe, I guess he is probably just getting old playing the dead guy. Probably gets silly for him. I gotta put this eyeliner on. Put this fucking hat on. Gotta talk like I'm dead. I can never go outside and get a tan. Instead, he puts on glasses, fighting gloves, and a freaking leather jacket from Benny's or something. All right,
we got Benny's. All right, so we're now at WrestleMania 13. This is March 23rd, 1997. This is coming from Chicago, the Rosemont Horizon, and we're here for this Austin versus Bret Hart match. We'll just get right into it. Yeah, with the entrance. Austin's entrance is badass.
Boss move.
At that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, the Austin 316 logo on the entrance, and then the glass shatters and it just breaks, and Austin comes through.
Iconic.
But that was awesome. Yeah, it's definitely an iconic moment. It's a big star treatment for Austin. Crowd is nuts for him. And, Vince McMahon even acknowledges that he's getting positive responses from the crowd, and there's nothing fancy about him. And then JR starts the little foreshadowing in the entrance too and says, "That's not a man that can quit."
Yep, there's not a man that can make him quit.
Yeah, right, there's not a man that can make him quit. So I just thought this was a very well-structured match. Yeah, I even broke it down when I watched it and took notes on it. I noticed that there's acts. There's 5 different acts building throughout the match. There's strikingly different types of a match going on for every 5 minutes it turns. So I'm gonna mention some of those things as we go through the match a little bit in some of the detail. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we also want you to watch this along with us this Friday with our live commentary edition of this match. So you get more detail there, of course, because you'll be watching it while we're talking about it. So I just want to go over some of the highlights of the match for this episode. All right, so let's just get into it. In the first act, I'll say, it starts off crazy. Okay, we get right into a brawl, and it leads out into the stands. They have a lot of fan involvement. And it's funny when we talk about it on the episode. There's people, there's people that are just around Austin and Hart battling. There's this one middle-aged guy. maybe had a few too many, and he's just like rubbing the heads of Austin and Hart and Shamrock. He's like, "Yeah, how you doing? You having a good time out here? Doing all right?"
The 1990 trolls.
Yeah. So the crowd is loving this. They're eating this shit up when they're fighting into the stands. Austin even takes soda from a vendor and throws it in Bret Hart's face. Even has a sip of it first, too. Just takes the soda, sips it, and then throws it at Hart. And this match is just starting off wild. And it should, because they've been building up since their last match, since the November Survivor Series match. And then they had their issue at Royal Rumble. And then they had their Final Four match, each other involved. So they hate each other at this point, Austin and Hart. And they're not going to stop. You know, when the bell rings, they're just going right at each other. They're not going to try to square off and, get into a collar elbow lockup. They're just going to go right into the battle.
Yeah, right to the beat. Right to the fists.
Yep. So that goes on for about 5 minutes, and then they finally get into the ring. And Hart hits a stunner pretty early in the match. I don't know if it's a stunner or if it was Was it a stunner or was it the jawbreaker?
We had the same. This came up during the live watch, and
yeah,
I don't know. It kind of looked like a variation of both because it's quick, like the stunner ends up becoming, where you just kind of bust it out quick. But I think it was more of a jawbreaker.
Yeah, it looked more like the jawbreaker.
Yeah.
So anyway, Lawler points out after he hits that move that if you knock him out, he can't submit. So you need him not knocked out. Is basically what he's saying. But that's also foreshadowing to what would happen at the end of the match. Is that Austin ultimately is not going to be able to submit. Lawler mentions that a little early. Hey, after Austin hits that move, Austin can recover a little bit, but Hart gets right back up. He doesn't stay down for too long after that modified stunner jawbreaker. And then Hart kind of gains control again, and we get his figure four on the post, the corner post. So he starts to use that move a lot. That now is like in my mind is just like classic Bret Hart move. That figure four on the post.
Oh yeah, yep. That was his go-to like heelish type move.
Right. And so Austin's not submitting at that, so he eventually breaks the hold. And then he goes to get a bell. A classic old blue bell. And he gets the blue chair. But I don't know if you noticed, I didn't talk about this on the episode. I must have been talking about something else on the watch-along. Well, when he goes for the chair, he first grabs one of those commemorative chairs that has the padding and it says WrestleMania 13 on it. But then he puts it back. He reconsiders and he grabs the blue chair, which I thought was a nice little touch because it's Bret Hart basically saying, this one has cushion, screw this one. I'm going to get the one that doesn't have cushion.
I didn't catch that. No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So they eventually get back in the ring, and then with that blue chair, Bret Hart is gonna attempt to do the Pillmanizing.
Yeah.
Where he's gonna put the chair around the ankle, like Austin had done to Pillman months ago. And as Hart is going to the top rope, because he's gonna jump down on that chair, Austin gets free and hits Hart in the head with the chair. And that brings us now to a period of time where the match swings in Austin's direction. So Austin starts to gain control. He whacks Hart with the chair, he gives a body slam, a suplex, and then he starts to work on Hart's back. And he gives the elbow from the second turnbuckle like Bret Hart does. And then he even gets a submission move on. There's a Boston Crab. Hart reaches for the ropes. Then Austin's going to go for a sharpshooter. Add insult to injury. But Bret Hart rakes his eyes. And then Hart starts his comeback again at this point. So Austin just tosses Hart out of the ring. And Austin looks for a crowd reaction. And they kind of don't really cheer him. You got like a mixed reaction. Some people are still supporting Hart at this point.
The late people, the people that converted a little late.
Right. And some never converted. Some just stuck by him.
Idiots.
So Austin's gonna go after Bret. He's gonna go outside and he's gonna whip him into the guardrail. And Bret Hart does that all the time. You know, he does a good job with the way that he takes those bumps when he gets whipped into corners or into a railing. And eventually Austin seems to have hit his head at that point, and that's when the blood starts to come. So this next part of the match, this is where you get the bloody Austin. So,
so many iconic shots here.
Oh, yeah. Classic shots. Hart punches Austin at the guardrail. This is where it seems where Austin gets busted open a little bit. The blood's dripping like crazy.
Yep.
So I don't know if it's what they would call a hard way cut, where he got the cut from actually like hitting something, or if he cut himself. I didn't see any part where he could have done it himself. I think it might be a legit cut. I'm sure there's information out there. Either Bret or Austin probably talked about it, and I just don't know. But I think it may be a legit cut. What do you think?
I think it's legit. I think I've heard in like prior documentaries that it wasn't planned.
Oh.
I think he got like legitimately cut.
So I heard somewhere else that McMahon might have been pissed in the back after when they came back, but because it was such a great match, they kind of were forgiven for doing it.
That puts the match. I mean, it was a great match, but picture that match without the blood.
Right,
I don't know.
Creates the drama.
Well, it makes it more believable that Austin passed out. Because it's like, right, passing out from pain, like, passing out from blood loss and pain, all right.
Right.
That kind of sold the whole ending of this match. So
yeah, that makes it make sense.
But who knows? I guess I think I've heard. I can't confirm that it was a legitimate cut, but
either way, it helps out the match.
Yeah,
greatly,
it was the right move. Whatever happened,
right.
Thank God it got. If it was legitimate, thank God it happened. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure if it was supposed to happen, they planned it, Bret Hart would take full credit for it. Yeah, I planned that. It was my idea.
We were standing at the second turnbuckle in the back, and I said, "Stevie boy, let's we're gonna do it this way." And you know,
this is what's gonna get you sympathy.
I'm great. I'm like, we're only like a 7 out of 10 match right now, but we add this blood, we're going 10 out of 10. Trust me on the excellence of execution.
Yeah.
Probably bitch and whine because he got screwed for not getting credit for it either.
So Hart's attacking like an animal, or what he would go on to call Austin and many others a hyena.
Yep.
The hyena. Do you remember him saying the hyena?
He says it in one of the earlier promos on this show.
Oh, okay.
On this episode. Right. I forget which one it is. He's like,
right,
and that hyena. They go.
Over the next couple of months, he continues to use that term, hyena, pack of hyenas.
Some of his comebacks are lame. He has another one. That's what I meant to say. I forget which one it was on this episode. He says, "You know why they called you Stone Cold? Because you have Stone Cold nuts." But like he can't get it in. Yeah, you have Stone Cold nuts, and you won't come out here and fight me.
Oh,
like
must have missed that one.
Yeah, his comebacks were awful. But he played a good whiny little bitch, so
yeah,
that worked.
There was an upcoming episode. I was watching ahead, planning out the next couple of episodes, and he says something like, "You can make fun of me, but don't make fun of the Simpsons."
What?
Yeah,
I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, it was a little shitty comeback.
Did someone make because he was on the Simpsons? He was a Simpsons character.
Right, he was on the Simpsons, but yeah, I believe it is Shawn Michaels says, something about how American people look up to Homer Simpson or something. And Bret Hart says, "Don't make fun of the Simpsons."
I get royalties from them.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt Groening.
Yeah. All right, so Hart is attacking like an animal. That's what JR calls him. And he's just, attacking the wounded man. Bret Hart's going for a sharpshooter at this point, but Austin rakes his eyes. And Austin can't see, which is a cool element to the match now. There's so much blood that Austin can't really see.
Yep.
And Hart is able to get it back on him quickly. So you have the sharpshooter going at this point. It's not the end just yet, but we're getting to that point. And throughout this match, at this point, I think Shamrock is doing an excellent job as the ref.
Oh, yeah, fantastic job. Very active. Seems like he's always in position. He's not getting unnecessarily involved. Did a hell of a job.
Yeah, and like you said this in the live commentary we did, that his cardio is on point. He's just all around. And
yeah, like he's just very active. You don't usually see that from a referee in a ring. Usually just kind of like, they're like, they put their hands in the air when something happens. Like, oh, wow, my God, you hit him so hard. Shamrock's just like in the zone, like a UFC ref. Like, dude,
right?
Don't kick him in the nuts.
He's right up on him.
Stomping. Yeah, he's made for this shit.
Speaking of the nuts, Hart is working on Austin in the corner. Austin hits Hart in the nuts, and nothing really happens there, so he gets away with it.
Yep.
So we're getting now towards the very end of the match here, and you have the classic Bret Hart being whipped into the turnbuckle. Sternum first.
Yep.
Now that's classic Bret Hart right there. And it's just like, I feel like the ring moves an inch whenever that happens.
Yeah, and like it's like, dude, it's like his chest becomes made out of steel.
Yeah.
When he hits it too, because he just like bounces off it so naturally.
Yep.
So naturally unnatural. It's weird. Just perfect. Excellence of execution. That's what he does.
Yep. Exactly. So Austin has Hart in the corner. He's stomping him now, and he gives him the double birds, and that gets the crowd excited again. Of course, anytime it's fuck you or middle fingers, the crowd loves it, eats it up. They have that going on, and then Austin's going to execute a suplex off the second rope, but he hits his head. It bumps his head a little bit. He gets stunned by it, and they have Austin now proceeding. And he brings in the cable cords.
Yeah.
Bunch of cable cords. He starts choking Bret with it. And the thing is, though, Austin, Bret Hart brought in that blue bell, ring bell, a little earlier, and didn't end up using it. He just dropped it in the ring, and it's been there ever since. So that bell is now within his reach while he's getting choked out with the cords. So it's conveniently located there. And Hart grabs the bell and, whacks Austin with it. And then is able to get Austin into the ring. Then applies the sharpshooter. And then we get that classic image of Austin struggling to hang on. He's not going to quit. You got Shamrock in his face. Do you quit? Are you going to quit? And then, it's just hanging in there. And at this point, it's like Austin has got the sympathy of a babyface at this point.
Yep.
Because Hart's just being brutal to him, and Austin's not going to quit, and he's got this blood just dripping down his face. And, that's been the storyline all along, is that Austin's not going to quit. So here he is in this situation, and he's gonna pass out. And Shamrock's going to call for the bell, and he's going to award Hart the victory, even though Austin never officially quit or submitted in the match. So JR speaks up right away. He says, Austin never gave up. And you have there's going to be some fallout too. Just Hart's going to solidify his heel turn by continuing to attack Austin, who's just lying there, beat up. So Shamrock's not going to deal with that shit. So he freaking tosses Hart. Which when that happened, it's like, oh man, that's going to be a match. Hart versus Shamrock.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think it really happens, one-on-one. Not that I recall. It may have happened.
I don't recall it either. I think they might have just gotten like a mixed tag or something.
Yeah, there's definitely a tag match with them involved coming up on In Your House in a few months. The Canadian Stampede.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I don't know if there was a singles match. There may have been, but I can't think of it right now. I'm sure we'll get to it if it happens, and we'll mention. All right, so that is the classic match of Steve Austin and Bret the Hitman Hart. It's up there as one of my top matches of all time. Just a great drama, great build to it.
Yep.
It's also the turning point where Austin becomes babyface. And you'll see that on next week's episode, is that he's completely like babyface Austin. Where Vince McMahon is like on his nuts, like smiling and happy. And Austin is carrying every episode of Raw from this point on. It's just centered around him. So this is a major turning point in Austin's career. This is where he becomes a star, thanks to his matches with the excellence of execution.
Bret Hart.
Yep. So I give this 5 skulls. 5 skull match for me.
No brainer, 5 skull match.
All right. So this has got to be one of the best Austin matches that there has ever been. And
Yep.
It'll be hard pressed to find another 5 skull match. There might be a couple out there, but this one definitely stands out as being the best.
Yeah, I know. I know off the top of my head, there's at least one other, which we're going to get to in another year or so.
Yeah.
Wrestling date wise, so.
Yep. All right, so it's one little funny thing that I thought was apropos is that JR, when they leave this segment, they leave this match to go to what's up next. He says, "What's going to beat this?" No, nothing is going to beat this for the rest of the show.
Like what wasn't the next match the main event?
No, the next match was the Chicago Street Fight with the Legion of Doom and Ahmed Johnson.
Oh, that's right, because the Legion of Doom had just come back. Yeah.
Yeah, against the Nation of Domination.
Yeah. Because one of the prior episodes of Raw, they have a match with Legion of Doom and Nation of Domination have a match, and Nation of Domination interferes, and they team up with Ahmed. Yeah.
So, nothing is going to beat that. Not even the main event. Because this was the main event, as we said earlier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so let me just go into our bottom line, our closing of the show. I like to do the house show rundown. Okay, so we'll pick up from February and go to this point here now at WrestleMania and talk about Austin's house show scene. And guess what? There's nothing to talk about because they didn't do any shows. Austin did not wrestle at all from Final Four until this night.
Wonder if he was healing up just from the prior injuries he had and
that's what I figure.
All that stuff.
Yeah, he's using the ankle brace at this point, so he's probably just making sure that he's good to go for this one match. So they kept him off all the house shows. He was only involved in the segments of Raw where he's cutting promos or attacking at the ring.
And the roster was kind of shorthanded at this point too, so without the star power of Shawn Michaels, you gotta protect your new golden egg here.
That's right. So that seems to be what happens often once they become top guy. They're not doing the house shows as much.
I
remember as a kid.
We're not showing him for $10.
Yeah. It was like when I was a kid, go to house shows, and Hulk Hogan was never there.
No.
You'd never see Hogan there. Every once in a great while, he'd be on a house show.
Look, I love people, brother. I'm all about the working class, man. I can relate. Doesn't show up to house shows.
All right, so David, you have any final thoughts on this double turn match?
No, but I do want to say that this opens up the Attitude Era. It opens it all up. We're full blown. We're going there. You got a guy who's been historically a babyface, Bret Hart, for as long as anyone can remember. Finally, turning heel. He's a bad guy now. This is different. This is huge. He was kind of like the face of all the people that have left that were leaving WWF during that time and jumping ship to WCW. He's the guy that stuck around, stood there, worked his way up through the tag title scene to the IC title. Now he's main eventing, and at this point, not only has he been a champion, but he's headlining. Monday Night Raw. He's one of the faces of WWF.
Yep.
No doubt about it. You got him, Michaels, and Austin. At this point, they're the big three.
The Ross is building up to be pretty sweet at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He's still the infancy of The Rock at this point. He hasn't even joined the Nation yet.
He's still Maivia. He just lost. I think I saw her in that Raw with the European Championship match. He lost in the tournament leading up that to Vader or something.
Yeah, right. And he was on this show against the Sultan.
Yeah. Oh, really? No kidding.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right, so
it's a family match.
That's that. Yeah. So, like I said at the top of the episode, we have a special edition episode coming to you this Friday. The watch along of this very match that we just finished talking about. So, if you want to watch the match and hear what we have to say about it, as it's happening live, check that out. Right. I hope you enjoyed the last special edition of the Rumble watch along. So I think you'll enjoy this one too. It goes about a half hour, and check that out. Now I want to get into your homework. Okay, got some homework for next week. Next week's episode is going to cover another Bret Hart match. Okay, so this is happening from In Your House, Revenge of Taker, and you have another match with Bret Hart. Okay, that goes on from this is happening from March through April 1997. So I just want to give you some Raws to take a look at over the next week while you prepare to check us out. Okay, this is Raw 202 from March 24th, 1997. Okay, Bret Hart cuts a promo. Okay, this is the night after WrestleMania, so Bret Hart's going to cut a promo about how the fans suck. You know, American fans suck. He complains that Shawn Michaels is in a gay magazine.
Yep.
And, yeah, that starts to build there.
Attitude.
Yep. Raw 203 on March 31st. You have an Austin interview with Vince McMahon at the 14-minute mark. And one thing notable about this is this is the era where Austin's starting to wear T-shirts all the time now. So he's going to be wearing his Austin 316 shirt rather than the vest.
Yep.
He'll only wear the vest for matches. At this point now he's going to jeans and T-shirts.
Selling his brand.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, most people didn't wear their shirts.
No.
At this point. Yeah.
They're still wearing full ring attire.
Right.
Still wearing their costumes, man.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes sense that Steve Austin's shirt became the highest selling is because he's wearing it. You want the shirt of the star. If the star's wearing the shirt, I want the damn shirt too.
Yeah.
You know?
Fortunately, I can't get Hulk Hogan tights or
actually, yeah.
I couldn't wear Ultimate Warrior tights. I want to dress like Stone Cold. I'm gonna go out in black tights. I'm gonna wear a vest with no shirt underneath and a gold chain. I'm gonna go shopping. Like, no, now you can wear an Austin. That might be acceptable at Walmart. Shout out to Walmart. I shop there. I love it there. But no, you can. At this point, it's easier. I want to be Stone Cold. I want to show my sport. I'm gonna wear his fucking T-shirt that he's wearing every Monday now. Yeah. He had tons of good T-shirts. I mean, the Austin 316 was obviously the most. It's the best one.
The classic one.
It's the classic. Yeah. But man, he ends up having a lot of good ones.
Yeah, he's got the rattlesnake one. He's got some cool ones.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll definitely talk about all the new shirts as they come out on this episode. On these episodes.
Yep.
Raw 204 from April 7th, and you're gonna have a match with Steve Austin between Billy Gunn. No, Billy Gunn.
Badass.
In this case,
badass Billy Gunn, or he's not badass.
Oh, not yet. No, he's about to be
at this point.
Rockabilly. Yeah, he's with Honky Tonk Man in this match. And then there's an interview with Gorilla Monsoon in Austin at this point on that episode. And then we get into the Go Home show to In Your House, which is Raw 205. And then ultimately you have the match with Bret Hart at Revenge of Taker. So take a look at those things over the course of the next week in preparation for next week's episode. Or just watch them after, or don't watch them at all. Just take our word for what happened. Do whatever you want. Okay? So
the choice is yours.
Yeah, the choice is yours. Gonna give a couple shout outs to a couple podcasts. Talking Taker. Talking Taker is a podcast very similar to what we do here, where Undertaker's career is broken down week by week, pay-per-view by pay-per-view, by Travis White and Alex Dorio. They do a very good job with their show, and you should check it out and take another perspective at this era. You can go through the Attitude Era from the lens of The Undertaker and what was going on with his career. And there's even some correlation at points, like the Final Four episode that we just did involved The Undertaker. They have a whole episode on the Final Four, too. And it was funny. I was listening to it now that we did our show.
Yep.
I don't want to listen to their episode before we recorded because I didn't want to be influenced by anything I heard from them. So I waited until we did ours to listen to their episode. And it's funny, like so many of the little things that we noticed and talked about, they did too. Just like some little.
No
silly
shit.
things.
I have trying to make a point to go back and listen to some of that stuff. Got some free time coming up. Gonna have to squeeze that in there.
Yeah, so take a look, guys, at Talking
cool.
Taker. Yeah, and there's another podcast, Booking the Territory podcast, the unprofessional wrestling podcast. And on that show, they cover Mike Mills and Chris Harper and the Doc Turner. They cover Smoky Mountain Wrestling week by week, the whole shebang of Smoky Mountain, all the episodes right in order. So you can start with the first episode of Smoky Mountain and just follow through on the whole journey of the history of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And it's some funny shit happens on those episodes that they make fun of, and it just leads to some great conversation. So they have that, and they also have the Thursday edition of that Book in the Territory, where they break down week by week episodes of the NWA World Championship Wrestling, the Saturday night show, the 605 show from the 80s.
No shit.
So they start with 85, and currently they're in 1987. So if you like Ric Flair, you're going to get to hear all the awesome Ric Flair promos from that era. So hilarious. I love those Ric Flair promos. So take a look at those two podcasts, Talking Taker and Booking the Territory. We, the Bottom Line Cast, can be found on Twitter at Bottom Line Cast. Also, our Facebook page is at Bottom Line Cast. And you can also message me or make suggestions to me at mpru83 on Twitter. And then also talk to JV here at John Van Damage on Twitter. And we said, fuck Instagram. So no more Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram is a pain in the ass. They're not podcast-friendly platform.
Yeah.
Or if they are, we haven't figured it out yet. But it seems like live, they've catered a lot to like live video and stuff.
Yeah.
And, we're not that.
We're not doing that.
No.
Yeah. All right, guys. So thanks for listening. Keep listening. Please share. Okay, we'd love more feedback, suggestions as we continue this journey through Austin's career. Next week, like I said, we'll be back for Revenge of the Taker, and also this Friday, don't forget, special watch-along edition of the WrestleMania 13 Bret Hitman Hart match and Stone Cold Steve Austin. All right, thank you guys. So long.